Shalom, welcome to Psychology of the Parsha for Parshat Bo. In this Parsha, Hashem says, Bo el Paro, come to Pharaoh. And here in this Parsha, he's going to deliver the final blows, so to speak, the last of the plagues, and the Jews are going to leave Egypt. In this Parsha, we become a people, we become a nation. In fact, the exodus from Egypt is likened to birth. This is the birth of the Jewish people. Although we were around before, but we became born as a nation on this day. In fact, many years later, through the prophets, Hashem alludes to this day as the day of your birth, quote unquote. In order for us to be born into a people, Hashem gave us some specific mitzvot. The first is the mitzvah of counting the Jewish calendar based on the lunar cycle. And then a specific mitzvah for them at that time in Egypt. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, the mitzvah of Korban Pesach, the Passover sacrifice, which they would eat on the night of Pesach, and perpetually for many years they ate as long as we had the Bet HaMikdash, as long as we had the ability, the means in which to offer it. That's true. But there is one detail, specific mitzvah of that general mitzvah that was very specific for the Jews in Egypt. And that reads, it says, Hashem says to Moshe, speak, you and Aaron, you speak to the entire congregation of Israel and say to them, on the 10th of this month, that is the month of Nisan, each head of household should take a lamb and bring it to the house. Later, as we know is the case perpetually for all years, they were instructed to slaughter the lamb, to offer its blood as a sacrifice, and to roast it, and to eat it. When? On the eve of Pesach. That is the 14th afternoon, leading into the 15th, the night of Pesach, which is the first day of Pesach. What exactly did they do with the lamb from the 10th until the 14th? Well, the sages tell us that they were instructed to keep it in their homes, literally tied to the bed. Okay, tied to the bed. A lamb tied to the bed. What a peculiar mitzvah. What was the purpose of this? And why only then? If it's important, do we do this every year? Are we meant to take the lamb and collect it on the 10th of Nisan? What's this all about? Why is Hashem doing this? Why is this put into their birth as a people? The answer is, Hashem was giving them instructions to help them lay down the proper foundations as a people that's going to last, as a people that's going to strive, as a people that's going to be worthy of receiving the Torah and keeping the Torah and being a light unto all nations. You see, the typical psychology makeup of a Jew, sadly, or perhaps too often, is that the Jew is almost embarrassed with his Jewishness. Perhaps not all Jews, but there's a significant segment of our Jewish population that has a problem with their Jewishness. Hashem knew that. Hashem knows our makeup. He knows our psychology. He knows how we think. He knows how we tick. You know what Hashem said? In order for you to be a nation, first and foremost, you're going to have to learn to be proud of it. You're going to have to learn not to be embarrassed by it. You're going to have to learn that this is not something you hide. This is not something you taunt. This is not something you walk on the street and go, hey, I'm better than you, I'm Jewish. But this is something that you're going to be proud of whether you like it or not. And here it is. You're going to take a lamb. I want you to think for a moment. Sheep. You ever hear the expression, to follow like sheep? That's exactly how they live, in big herds. A lamb is not used to living alone. As soon as it's alone, without other sheep around it, other sheep to follow, it feels almost naked. It feels like it's in the cold. Certainly, when it's in a home, it's not an animal that spends time in the home. It's always out there in the field. Take that lamb. Take it out of its environment. Bring it into your house. Now imagine, and this actually happened, the reaction of the Egyptians when suddenly there are thousands of Jews not walking their dogs, not out there in the street with their cats, their household pet, rather with walking with the lamb. What's this all about? You're going to have to tell them. You can't just go, well, my kid wanted to play with a lamb today. Is it only your kid? Because it seems like every other Jew in town is walking down the street with a lamb, with his entire family. Furthermore, what's that lamb going to do? Imagine a Jew that was so embarrassed, so ashamed by this craziness called Judaism, and these new rules that the new leader is giving them. This God of this is telling him something about this crazy thing about a lamb. And imagine he just snuck it in from the back door of his house, trying to hide the fact, the embarrassing fact that he's Jewish. Well, you can only imagine that for the next several days, that lamb was highly uncomfortable. He's not used to being in this environment, amongst humans all day, in a bedroom, without the rest of the flock. That lamb was making noise, meh, meh. Imagine the Egyptian neighbors. And think about it. This is about the Jew who tried to assimilate, tried to blend in with the Egyptian society. Imagine Egyptian neighbors like, hey, what up, man? What's going on there? What's this noise coming? You can get away with it an hour or two, but 3 days later, you have to tell them the truth. It's a lamb. No, really, a lamb in your house? What for? Well, I'm a Jew, and I have a mitzvah to do, and we're going to be leaving Egypt. In short, Hashem said, I'm going to force you to be proud of this Jewishness of yours. Mm-hmm. If you're going to be a Jew, if you're going to go out of Egypt, you're going to be born as a Jew, you're going to be proud of it. And this teaches us, don't be ashamed. If you're a Jew, wear it as a badge of honor. Be proud of it. Don't be afraid of who you are. Don't be afraid to be proud of who you are. Shalom.